How to heal your gut microbiome from someone, me, who's been studying the gut microbiome for 30 years. After Western medicine failed me time after time after time again, I had to get back to the roots of traditional healing practices that I've studied globally in order to get to the truth about how to heal my gut microbiome. I was on antibiotics my entire childhood, which is like a nuclear bomb for your large intestine. Now, thank goodness I've saved my leg, but on the other side, I had a big mess to clean up, and I've spent the last few decades working on rebuilding the strength of my gut microbiome. It's no fun having chronic gas, having diarrhea, having constipation. It is really no fun, but guess what? These are signs that your gut microbiome is in need of repair. So first and foremost is to eat a variety of fiber. Now, come to find out, not all fiber is created equally. The fiber from a squash versus the fiber from an apple versus the fiber from a pear are all different types of fibers. So it's important not only to get enough fiber in terms of grams, but also a variety. And you find fiber insoluble and soluble in fruits and vegetables, so plant-based foods that are whole and found in their whole form. That means like not flour or other forms of it in ultra processed foods. So eating a variety of fiber is one key. You don't need fancy probiotics, you don't need expensive things, you just need to repopulate your gut with a variety of fiber.
Number 2 is ultra processed foods, and I used to be 320 pounds. I used to eat tons of junk food and processed foods, highly processed foods, and foods that are full of oil and just absolute junk. And I really wrecked my gut microbiome, and not only did it cause me a hard time to lose weight, but it also made it really hard for me to go to the bathroom. I was actually constipated for over 5 months. And I learned that it was really important to get different kinds of fiber back into my diet so that I could start having a healthy body and a healthy mind again.
And the healthy body-mind is a really important point that you just made, because having a healthy gut microbiome ends up having a healthy mind. When you were eating ultra-processed foods, you were also experiencing high levels of anxiety and depression, and they're both directly linked. So when you populate your gut with a load of ultra-processed foods, your body looks at it as like a foreign invader. It doesn't know what to do with it. It has to deal with it, almost like it's an invader, like a virus. Now I'm overstating it here, but I want to be sure to emphasize the connection between your gut microbiome and your brain. And so if you are eating ultra-processed foods, you are not setting yourself up for success with your weight loss, with clear thinking, with anxiety, with depression, with longevity, because your cells need nutrition, and they're not going to get it from ultra-processed foods. And your cells are going to keep asking you to eat and eat and eat and eat, and your body's going to crave more of what you eat until it gets satisfied, and your cells will never be satisfied by any ultra-processed food. That's just not how we were designed. Another very powerful way you can participate in healing your gut microbiome. Again, you don't need fecal implants or fancy expensive probiotics. We just want you to take a microscope to your diet, to your cupboards, your refrigerator, and all the food that you're eating out. Where is sugar coming from? Where is salt coming from? And where is oil coming from? These 3 ingredients, when you finally discover the sources of your diet, where these foods are coming from, you will have a handle on your health and the health of your gut microbiome. Now, if you're eating cane sugar and other types of sugar, you're going to be causing some problems with your gut microbiome. Now, when I say that, you might think, well, I love the way sugar tastes. I get it. It's in every sauce. It's in all of the dressings. It's in most things that you buy out and about because it's just a way to enhance flavor. Same thing with salt. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm a little bit suspicious of all things that are white powders. I just don't think that they're going to feed your body and your cells in the way that you need them to. So when you think about salt, white powder, when you think about sugar, white powders, you want to avoid those things. They are going to weaken your gut microbiome, and they're going to lead to more cravings. If you're someone who is feeling like you're craving food all the time, it could be because of the salt and sugar that you've been ingesting that your gut microbiome is just calling out for more of. Now, if you just stop those sources and you replace them with other things, we love making our food at home because it's really hard to avoid these things when you start putting a microscope on it. But the more of what you eat is what you will crave. So you'll just have a few days where your body might be missing it. But then as soon as you put good things back into your body will start craving those good things. Oils are another really important focal point. Oftentimes when you're out and about, you're getting soy oil, canola oil, safflower oil, peanut oil, palm oil. Like, these oils are in everything. And guess what? They're great for businesses because they have a long shelf life and they're super cheap, but they're not really that great for your health. They don't go to glowing skin and beautiful hair. They don't go to building a robust gut microbiome. So if you can start replacing these oils in your life with higher quality oils, you will notice a huge difference in your health and your vitality and the health of your gut microbiome. How did I get cuts on my finger?
Because you were cutting coconuts violently in a glass bowl.
Very dangerous kitchen experiments. You will see more on Instagram.
Number 4 is adding fermented foods. I was just listening to a podcast with a gut microbiome specialist who is a lab at Stanford, and he was working with some scientists and some doctors. They were studying the gut microbiome in the labs, and there's really not that much research on the gut microbiome. But what they found was that when they added more fiber and then added fermented foods on top, it not only helped the gut microbiome thrive, but it also helped it grow with more good bacteria.
It's like a booster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little booster engine. And it's interesting because I was really struggling with irritable bowel syndrome. I was having chronic diarrhea and acne, and it was really a problem for my life and my career, and it just made me feel really anxious about going out. And then I also couldn't really manage my weight. I always had like 25, 30 pounds to lose. This was actually before you were born. And I remember that nothing they offered me could work. They had like ammonium AD, but no one wants to be on like anti-diarrhea medication chronically. And it wasn't until I started to like play with my diet a little bit to understand like if I got rid of gluten, would it help? Yes, actually it did. It took me a long time to do that though. If I got rid of dairy, would it help? Which was the hardest thing to do when I lived in Switzerland because the dairy there is like so extraordinary. But yes, it did help. It helped especially with the acne. But the irritable bowel syndrome didn't really start to improve until I included fermented foods in my diet and life. And I learned this because after the Western system just kept failing me around solving my chronic irritable bowel syndrome issues, I had to go and look into naturopathy. I had to go and look at homeopathy, and I had to go and look at holistic ways to heal the gut. And most of the information that we have on this topic is coming from ancient healing traditions. So you find in macrobiotics, the Chinese system that's been used for thousands of years, they use a lot of fermented foods. In the Korean, in the Japanese, they all use fermented foods. When you go back in the Russian history, they all use fermented foods. Very, very famous. Each culture has their own famous version of fermented foods all throughout Europe.
So
you find fermented foods.
What are the kinds of fermented foods somebody could add into their diet right now?
Well, what's really interesting is that it was a way for people to preserve their garden vegetables, to have vegetables and fiber throughout the winter. So I thought that was really fascinating because at a certain point, like around March in some of these colder countries, you simply don't have any fresh produce at all to eat. So not only was it a way to boost the immune system through the winter months to keep you well, it was also a way to have fiber in your diet and stay really healthy throughout the winter months.
BT dubs, when we talk about fermented foods, we're not talking about the canned pickles in the aisle of the grocery store.
Yes, not traditionally fermented foods are made with salt only. So if you find you want to have the pickles or the sauerkraut, if it has vinegar and sugar in the ingredients, then you know that it's definitely more industrialized. What we're talking about is the traditional fermentation process, which you can make for pennies on the dollar. Now you can go out and you can buy a bag of naturally fermented sauerkraut for $7, $8, $9. You'll be lucky to find one for $4, but a whole head of cabbage is usually less than $4, and you can make a ton of fermented, sauerkraut with that head of cabbage. So you can learn it from a number of different people. I think Tim Ferriss has a recipe in his 4-hour diet that's pretty good. I also learned about this when I was studying the body ecology diet from Donna Gates. And she also has great tutorials, and she has also the probiotics that you can purchase, and then you can populate it. I mean, it's a whole thing to do your own. You should have at least 1/4 cup of these fermented foods every day. You should have them before your meal, Ideally, like you should, the first thing before you eat, you just take a tablespoon, a big spoonful of this. I know, Penelope, I did this with you when we were in Florida and you were like so not happy about it, but it's really important if you want to keep your immune system strong, because you weren't feeling well. And I was like, we're going to do whatever we can to keep our immune system strong. So one huge heaping tablespoon of fermented foods. You can do there's olives you can get, there's sauerkraut, there's all kinds of vegetables that you can get that again are just made with sea salt, not vinegar and sugar. And you just include that in every meal. It helps improve your digestion. It helps to regulate your blood sugar levels. It helps to increase satiation. And most importantly for this video, it helps to reinforce the strength of your gut microbiome, proven by thousands and thousands and thousands of years in absolutely every culture throughout the globe, regardless of age, race, religion, creed, anything. Even in India. Number 5. This might seem kind of unrelated, but it's actually really important. According to the research, you need to chew your food really well. I myself need to do better with this.
How many times do you have to chew?
It's ideal to chew 60 times, but you try to chew 60 times. You feel like you're going to go out of your mind. But it's a great practice. And it can be really challenging if, of course, you're eating with other people and not everyone's doing the same practice, and you can feel kind of bored, but really, you want to try to aim for at least 30, if not 60. Chew your food well. This helps your body to use the nutrients that you're eating, and it helps to start that first phase of digestion, which is the mastication with your teeth, and also the enzymes that are found in your mouth, and that get secreted as you chew. So this is a really important way to optimize your digestion. It also helps to eat less, believe it or not, when you chew more, because you're giving your body more time to feel into the hunger signals, allowing those hunger signals to alert you sooner that you're full. Other things that are also really important: chewing, sleeping well, believe it or not, helps to reinforce a healthy gut microbiome, because toxins can get out and your gut microbiome will regulate in sleep. And this is a very complicated host of hormonal things that happen when you're sleeping that it's really important for the health of your gut microbiome. So chew well, sleep well, and exercise. Believe it or not, when you exercise, you're fueling the mitochondria, you're re-energizing the mitochondria, and they're able to do their work a lot more efficiently. So reinforcing the gut microbiome isn't only fermented foods or not eating ultra-processed foods or harmful salts, sugars, and fats, but it's also about your lifestyle, believe it or not. So if you want to learn more about the gut microbiome, we have a course inside of our program that we offer to you as a bonus for signing up. And if you are interested in really taking a leap in doing something meaningful for your life and the rest of your life, we will teach you how to take care of yourself really well. We will teach you how to make food delicious that's also healthy and will reinforce the health of your gut microbiome. We will teach you skills that you will use for the rest of your life, because we teach you how to live a life you love and that you're inspired to live. We offer support and accountability. And so if you're interested in learning more, please click the link in the description below, and we'd love to schedule a call with you to learn more. I'd love for you to comment below and let us know if you've been struggling with your gut microbiome. And if you're too shy to talk about that on YouTube in the comment area, I understand that. You can also just put your email address in there. We'll reach out to you so that you can ask us your questions. It's something that I've been studying very intimately, and Penelope as well, for quite a long time.